Hello everyone and welcome to a new video over here on my YouTube channel. Today this is a little bit of a different video because we are going to be discussing the tool, the Cuttlebug, and I kind of wanted to go over everything you can do with the machine kind of in a quick video, kind of a basics video. So first and foremost what we're going to review are going to be the different plates that are made for the machine. First we have the A plate, which is the base plate which we'll use most often with the machine and will be the base of most of the sandwiches for the projects. Now next we have the B plate, which is the embossing plates that you'll use, which you will actually put an embossing folder in between the two. We also have the C plate, which is the cutting plate. It's easy to remember, C for cutting. And then last but certainly not least, we have the embossing mat. The embossing mat will be used with wafer thin dies, and we'll show that later in the video. And it's kind of a new type of I guess device to use with the Cuttlebug. First and foremost, when you take out your Cuttlebug and you place it on the table, you're going to open up the two doors. When you open up the two doors, it is actually going to create a suction to the table or work surface, and it will not move, which is awesome. First, what we'll review are the embossing folders. The A plate is down there, as you can see on the left, and then I placed a B plate on top. And we have our Cuttlebug folder here, which is one of my favorites. It's actually a Halloween folder, which I know everybody is shocked that that would be one of my favorites. But now we're going to take a piece of the Cricut cardstock and place it in between those two pieces of the embossing folder. We'll sandwich that together, and then we'll take the two B plates and create a sandwich there with the embossing folder in the center, and then we will crank it through. Whenever I say sandwich in this video, that just simply means kind of we're building different layers to put something through the machine. So once I pull off that B plate that is on top and I pull out the embossing folder, you'll see here how awesome this machine embosses, which is one of the first things that we can do with it. And you can see there that we can create a background, we can ink that. There's so much you can do with it once it's embossed. Secondly, what I want to review are the dies that are available from Cricut. These are the Cuttlebug dies. They're an older die that are still available on the in the store, and these were kind of like the steel rule dies that we see today, but they're like a thin version of the steel rule dies. Steel rule just basically means that the blade is not exposed, excuse me, and it's underneath of that foam there. Many of you probably have these sitting around and probably never ever use them. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. You're going to take a B plate, and as you can see there on my B plate, that's it's been cut up. It's been, there's been some dies that have gone into it. That's fine. If you, really want your plates to stay super, super pristine, just keep one B plate that's always pristine. That's all I do. And you'll just place the die here, the blade side down, place another B plate on top. I want you to take note of that, not a C plate for cutting because these are very thin, but a B plate because of the because it's a steel roll. And then we'll pull that out, and you'll see here that once we pull off that die that we have a really, really good good cut here. And you can use either the negative that I showed there, or you can obviously just use the cutouts of the balloons, which I think are so cool. You can use them for shaker cards. You can tie little strings to them and put them on the front of a card. I mean, the sky's the limit, and you get 3 with just one pass. Next, what I'd like to review are the steel rule dies that we discussed a little bit earlier with these ones. The steel rule dies that we are going to review are going to be the ones that are, this one's from Tim Holtz, and it's a really, really cool die to use with fabrics or with different felts or chipboard. Today we're going to use chipboard for it. So we're going to take a B plate, place that on the bottom, place our heavy duty chipboard on the die with the cut side up, the blade side up, place another B plate, and we're going to wind that through. Now remember, there's going to be a little bit of elbow grease needed for this one because we are cutting through a very heavy material. If you're not cutting through a heavy material, you're just cutting through paper, it'll glide right through. So now when I pull this out, I want you to see how awesome this cuts out this chipboard. Obviously, as we all know, chipboard pieces are pretty pricey. So I want you to see how if you make this quick investment in one of these, or little investment in one of these steel rule dies, I guess I should say, you can see that you can cut many, many, many of the chipboard pieces out of it. And you'll see I cut out where all the pieces were falling out of it, but you can see here that the pieces all come out very, very easily, and this is a very, very thick piece of chipboard, and I just thought that was really cool. Next, what we have are the wafer thin dies. This again is something that is super popular. It's probably the most popular die that is on the market right now, and these ones are from Dies. And I'm using these ones because they are an embossable die, and I'll show you what that means in just a moment. So we're going to take our thinlet die, or our wafer thin die, and we're going to place it on our piece of cardstock on top of a B plate. And we are going to go ahead and place a piece of post-it tape on there. You'll see that this doesn't work the way that I wanted to with the post-it tape, but it's easily fixable, and I'll show you how. And then we're going to place a C plate on top of that, and we're going to just wind this through the machine, or crank it through the machine. Now with what you'll see, the C plate on top, that's going to be what we're going to use for the wafer thin dies, and that's what we'll use for all wafer thin dies, is going to be that C plate for cutting. So now what we're going to do is we are going to pull that off the back. We didn't want to do that. It was supposed to stick with the tape, but I didn't put the tape in the right place on the front, but that's okay. Just match it back up on the back and go ahead and stick it again. Now we're going to take that same exact formation that we just used minus the C plate. So we have an A plate and a B plate, what we've started with, for the whole duration except for the steel rule dies. And we're going to place it now face down. The top is going to be now down instead of up. And we're going to take our little embossing mat, place that on top of that sandwich, place another B plate on top, and we're just going to crank that through. What this is going to do is since it's a squishy material, the squishiness is going to push through the die, and it is going to create an embossed effect. And I'll show you here. It's going to be a little bit difficult to see on the blue, but I do show you on also another die, a wafer thin die that I use. So once you pull that out, you'll see here that you can see with the lighting some of the embossing on there. It doesn't really do it justice, really. You need to put a little bit of ink on top of there, but you can see it very well in person. And I am going to show you again. I got a couple of these dies today because I really, really, really like them, and how they have a bunch of different things you can do with them, from embossing and stenciling through and things like that. And again, this is of course the ornament die, but next I'm going to show you there is a wreath die from them, which I just think is absolutely awesome, that also will cut out the outside, and then you can see there how beautiful the embossing is when using that embossing mat. So that is all that I have today. I thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below, and you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.